Okay, Manchester United fans, this is the week. This is the big one, everybody. Manchester United's build up to Bilbao. We're going to touch on that and what has been said in and around the rumour mill heading up to Bilbao on Wednesday night. Massive for United, but it is Monday morning and we are firstly bringing you your Manchester United updates around all of the transfer speculation and what's going to happen after Sunday. Fast forward, please, take the stress of this week away and let's just get into the transfer business and we can start afresh. It is nerve-wracking, honestly, like waking up just this morning alone, Monday morning, 2 days before the actual, well, everything really kicks off and gets into overdrive. It just feels like there is something massive on this week for Manchester United. And all I can think about is the implications it has. I'm not even thinking about the actual trophy. I'm just thinking about what it brings to United. And I can't help but think that way. But look, hopefully we will be celebrating on Wednesday. Going to talk a little bit about that as we are going to do pretty much all week building up to it. But first of all of your updates regarding Manchester United and every team's season playing out to a finish right now and situations developing all over the place. One in particular with Antony and where we're at with him right now. And yesterday they were pummeled, Real Betis that is, by Atletico Madrid, pretty much ending their chances of Champions League qualification. Even the top 5 place was just out of reach, and just falling at the last hurdle means that Real Betis officially cannot afford to buy Antony. Now, their competitors in La Liga are definitely in a position to buy Antony. And we've talked about that a lot. We had the Barcelona interest in Antony. Obviously, we've talked in depth quite a lot over the last few weeks about Atletico Madrid. Obviously, you've got Real Betis, but they're now out of the race unless they can somehow twist Manchester United into doing another loan. Honestly, if United buckled to that, and I'd be really getting bad vibes for this summer if that happened. But the big movers and the big players right now are Villarreal. After their win yesterday against Barcelona, confirming top 5 has got them into the Champions League. Now, they are in a position to actually go in and buy Antony for cash. Yes, this is the same club that bought Willy Cambuala off us last summer. So obviously United and Villarreal have got good relations and are used to dealing with each other in this current structure as well. So that bodes well. With them being in the Champions League, that is something definitely that will boost their chances of getting Antony over the line. They can look to Antony and say, look, this is what you've got here right now. This is an improving Villarreal side quite clearly that have got Champions League football. And this, I think, is going to be key in everything that happens now because you've got 2 La Liga sides. Barcelona, maybe that story is further down the line and we'll see how that develops. But I don't think Antony is going to be one of them deals that moves rapidly fast. I don't think anybody's trying to move him in Club World Cup territory, as in a team that's playing in that competition that needs him over the next 3 weeks anyway. But with that competition kickstarting in just around about 3 weeks' time, actually, then we're looking at this stage, like Antony's probably going to drag out into the normal stages of the transfer window. Time for United to deal with this. Obviously, a good season, and obviously we will still receive bonuses if Manchester United, if Real Betis do get that Europa Conference League win against Chelsea, which we're all hoping does happen anyway. And that will be the end of it. That will pretty much signed, sealed, delivered to whichever club. And I think I don't think it's going to be Betis. I don't think United will buckle down to the loan that they're offering right now, which is similar with a little bit more on top of it, is what's being reported for Antony. But I think Villarreal coming in at this stage now is quite clear that everybody can see the impact that Antony's made in La Liga in particular, and it suits him. It really does suit him. And I think Villarreal are just, with what they have done this season and how they've managed to get themselves back into the Champions League, amongst all of the other quality teams competing in La Liga there, when you look at like what Bilbao did in the Europa League, obviously you've got Atletico Madrid there as well, and Barcelona, Real Madrid. It has been a pretty competitive league this season in La Liga, which makes a refreshing change, to be honest. But I think with multiple teams coming in, I think United can move away from Betis and look towards maybe getting a tiny bit of a bidding war going. We know that Simeone wants Antony at Atletico Madrid, and we know that now that Villarreal are interested as well. Juventus are just on the other side of things as well. Good win for them yesterday I think they beat Udinese in Serie A yesterday 2-0, which has put them in Champions League places. It's going to come down to the last game of the season between Roma and Juventus for the last place. That's going to be this weekend coming. So if Juventus do get Champions League football, and Vlahovic, like Romano has said, is going to be sold this summer. He scored yesterday in the 2-0 win, Vlahovic, but Juventus are definitely moving Vlahovic on. So Champions League money in, obviously new manager in as well for Juventus after Motta was sacked mid-season. And Vlahovic's wages off the books. A lot of moving and shaking. We've talked about Douglas Luiz going on, moving from Juventus as well, and him being his wages freed up at Juventus. So they're in a strong position for Antony as well, and we know that they are interested in Antony. But there is also movement on a couple of other players for Italy and Manchester United regarding Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee. Nothing much more detail-wise on that apart from what we've spoken about this week. Possible interest in Zirkzee at Inter Milan, and Rasmus Højlund has got interest from Juventus and a couple of other Italian clubs, but we'll see and let them develop out. But Antony's situation is starting to really bubble up into a positive one for Manchester United, in that there are several teams in very, very good positions, and with Antony's form and what he's produced for Betis so far, I think United right now are just lining them up in a way. And I don't think Manchester United, I've said it just a moment ago then, I don't think we're going to be rushed into trying to make a deal happen very quickly for Antony. I think it's going to be one of, like, well, look, what have you got, Real Madrid? What are you offering? It's going to have to be a permanent transfer. And what this is going to come down to, I feel, is that initial payment. So if United have set their stall out and it is going to be just a sale, there's no option of a loan at all for Antony going out of this window. Ruben wants him moved on. Manchester United need the money. And obviously, if we don't win on Wednesday, it becomes even more vital that Manchester United get this deal done. But like I've said all along, Manchester United will be looking to implement the same tactics and the same strategy with or without the Champions League. More so, if United do get Champions League, they're not just going to go all of a sudden, what we can go and spend willy-nilly. They're trying to get the players out that need to get out, that they need to get out. And the Champions League qualification is not going to stop Manchester United. Or we would have thought, like, because we've got more money in, we're not going to move certain players on. There's no mad rush now we've got Champions League. It's not the case with the new management team in place and the new structure at United. It's still going to be full steam ahead. Let's get as many players out as we possibly can. So the down payments, the rumour on Atletico Madrid was that they were willing to put down the 35 and then have bonuses added on. So that's 35 million euros. So it's coming in a little bit under where Manchester United wanted, which was 40 million quid. But their add-ons apparently were worth substantially more. And that wasn't too difficult to get. So I think what they were doing there was just, with the situation as it was, being the first team to put down an actual real bid. Now, this was all just reported and rumoured, and obviously I'm not going to say that this is a definite, but we just know from the reports that Atletico are interested. But I feel like this is what it's going to come down to anyway. What's affordable for Manchester United to take, and who gets the closest to it with probably an initial payment, and obviously then with the bonuses added on. I think United probably will feel comfortable and confident, because Antony has flourished in La Liga, obviously, that he can meet them bonuses as well. So this is all looking very good on the Antony side of things. Betis falling short might actually not be a bad thing for Manchester United. We were talking up, and I was talking up about Betis getting into the Champions League, and where I was pushing the positive of that because it's someone else who's got a little bit more Champions League money. I think they've always thought that they could get a cheap deal out of Manchester United, and that's been the rumours all along. Their president talking about doing everything he possibly can to keep Antony. And you know what? If they win that Europa Conference League final, there will be a big push and a big outcry from the fans and legends like we've seen before with Antony to keep him at the football club, do everything they can. United will just stand firm on this and say, if you want him, you've got to pay the money. Will Antony want to stay at Real Betis if he's got offers in the Champions League elsewhere, now that he's proved his worth? Like his agent has come out and said, Antony has now shown everybody what he can actually do. And it's good that he can actually perform at this level and show everyone that he was worth that money that Manchester United paid for him. Yes, not at United and not in the Premier League, But for somebody else competing at the highest level in the actual Champions League next season, I think that's where he actually wants to be. And like I said, he's a hero at Real Betis, but money will talk, competitions will dictate. And like I've said before with Victor Gyökeres and the situation with Manchester United, we cannot be a club that says just because this player is looking at his options and where he wants to play and what competitions he wants to play in at the age of 26, we're not going to sign him. No, every single player is going to be looking at what that club is that they're moving to, where they are, and what that benefits them, how that benefits them. So I think with Antony, I think Atletico Madrid and Villarreal come in, even Juventus, if they get Champions League football, I think he will probably be swayed across to moving to them clubs rather than staying at Real Betis. But Villarreal coming in is a massive bonus for United because they have got the money, they have got Champions League football, they are very appealing to Antony. I don't think it would be an issue for him personally to move to another Spanish club. And obviously, can he have got that comfortable in Real Betis in a short space of time where he feels like he doesn't want to go to another Spanish club? I don't know. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He is an emotional player, so maybe, I don't know. But look, his agent is the one that's always driven this for Antony, and I think he will be at the forefront of making this move happen for him. What suits him best, and obviously what lines the agent's pockets as well. Like we discussed this last night with agents, they will always look to get the client the best offer financially and give them security going forward because it does the job for them as well. Regarding, obviously, Gyökeres, I just touched on him then. We did the update on him last night from what Romano said. 55 million is what it is going to take to get Gyökeres over the line for any Premier League club. Ben Jacobs did another interview regarding Victor Gyökeres as well, in talking about the Arsenal side of things. And he said in that Arsenal are not fully in on Victor Gyökeres yet because they want to see how the Premier League pans out with Newcastle and Alexander Isak's situation. He is still their top target, and that's the player that they want. Because of the Premier League proven quality of Isak, that's what Arsenal feel, according to Ben Jacobs and a few other people, to be honest, that's their top target. They feel that he is the best striker for them. Now, obviously, Isak will bring Arsenal the guaranteed Premier League proven quality, which is hard to find. And where Gyökeres is mustard, top quality player, there isn't the Premier League proven quality there guaranteed yet. And obviously, we've seen this before with plenty of strikers that have done it elsewhere. I mean, he does seem like a different animal. He does seem like he is going to be that type of striker that comes in and hits the ground running. He's just got that aura about him. I mean, 52 goals and doing it in the Champions League, you can't argue with that. And Arsenal would be stupid to turn it down if they had the go-ahead to take Victor Gyökeres. But what it does do, and it's only a little positive for United. It's only a tiny little benefit to us. But with them playing, I think it's Benfica they've got in the Portugal Cup final. With them playing that out, obviously it gives Manchester United time then to get their final out of the way and know if we actually have got Champions League football next season, to then go in and just say, bang, we want to take him. But what it also does, if Arsenal are just holding off on Alexander Isak, then obviously the Premier League top five, which is going down between Forest, Chelsea, Villa, City and Newcastle, and Chelsea, in fact, all on the last day. Anything can happen and anyone can lose out pretty much in that fight for the top 5 places. So it gives us this week for Arsenal not to have jumped in and got Victor Gyökeres over the line. The games that just need to be played out of just give United enough time to get Wednesday out of the way. Now, of course, if we lose, we're probably going to lose Victor Gyökeres anyway, and it doesn't matter. But at least we know that we've got a chance with everybody else right now. Well, we're not in. Nothing has been decided with Victor Gyökeres, and everybody else still playing out their seasons. And what we can say is that we've got until the end of this week to make a decision on Victor Gyökeres, and that, I think, is where we're actually at, I think, with everything now. And when we look at all of the options that are there for United up front, I think we look at the Victor Gyökeres one, we look at the Liam Delap one, everything that Manchester United are moving towards, I want to bring up in the next part of the show actually and talk about this, but there is a definite push from Manchester United to get Premier League proven players in this summer, and it's something I want to talk about in a moment. But I want to come into a few of the comments first of all on the Antony situation and what we're talking about there with Victor Gyökeres again. And keep the comments coming in on Victor Gyökeres and whether you feel he is, where you think we can get him. That's basically it. It's like, are you confident that United can get Gyökeres over the line if we win on Wednesday night? Is it all coming down to that? Gary says, morning Meds, how you all are feeling leading up to Wednesday? Me personally, I can't shake this horrible feeling that we are about to further fall apart. I hope I'm wrong. That's the feeling and the worry that every single Man United fan has got, Gary, I think. Our club always sells cheap and buys high. I would love to see that change, says Cliff. Cliff, I know it is something that is annoying, and this is the one thing that I've always talked about with this new management team in a new structure, where we can actually see them working in a way where it benefits Manchester United more. Like you just said there, let's try and reverse that around. Let's get a few more comments in before we move on to the next section. The hardest part to swallow is the fact that players will go to Liverpool and Arsenal before coming to us. Well, this is how far we've fallen. This is what we have to accept now as Manchester United fans, is that other football clubs are structurally better than us and can offer players a lot more. And the agents will push to them, whereas United's endless money train that agents took advantage of for years has now gone. It's come off the rails. Now they're looking elsewhere. And United's the wasted money that we ploughed into players just because of their names over the past has really left us in a situation where them players have failed. We've got no money left because we overspent, like we said in the comments there. And now we're trying to find deals like a normal football club should, because we have been massive failures in the transfer market for years now. Henry says, good morning, guys. Good morning to you as well, Henry. 14 new players, says Mark Ash. We have Bruno, Xerxes, Ahmad Mount not going anywhere. Plus, the defence ain't bad. We need 5 to 6, which is easily achievable this window. A few additions next season will be good. Now, Man United need 4 to 5 minimum first team, first 11 players to come in this summer. That's what Manchester United need to start moving, I feel. And I think we can definitely make that happen, with or without the Champions League. I do. With the Champions League, that player becomes a lot easier to get because we're in that competition, and obviously the extra money will go a long way to balancing books on top of what wages we're already offloading in the summer, like we discussed last night again. I said last night, if Manchester United can get Gyökeres for 55 million, I would go out and buy Victor Gyökeres and Liam Delap. Champions League money alone would pay for that. 85 million for them two strikers. I'm sorry, we paid 10 million less to bring Rasmus Højlund in. I would do it, and I would pay the 400 grand a week wages, because we're going to lose that in Jadon Sancho and Victor Lindelof alone. Jadon Sancho and Christian Eriksen alone next summer, without Victor Lindelof's on top. So if you had Victor Lindelof's on top, the wages that we're saving from them three players, Sancho, Lindelof and Christian Eriksen, just as an example, we could pay for Liam Delap's wages and Victor Gyökeres' wages with change. And that's what I said last night and broke it down. So what United are doing with the players now that we're releasing, and obviously trying to sell on, like Antony as well, is making that space within their wage budget, which is going to come down this summer. Even if we do spend big, it is going to come down with the players that we are selling and moving on. And that again just shows you how much money Manchester United have wasted going into, over the last 10 years. And it can be fixed. It can. There is a way forward for United with and without Champions League. But I just pray that we win on Wednesday, and we have the option anyway. And it just gives us a bit more flexibility on that. I wanted to move forward. I did just mention there then what Arsenal were looking at regarding Isaac and the Premier League proven factor. Now, I've seen an amazing stat that came up before, that Manchester United, post Sir Alex Ferguson, have only bought in the transfer market 13 Premier League players. So Premier League players that were playing in the league from another club, we've only bought 13 over the 11 years since Sir Alex Ferguson retired from Manchester United as manager, 13 Premier League proven players. And 2 of them were in the first window in Juan Mata and Marouane Fellaini. I'd take both of them in my side right now. I really would. But it goes again, doesn't it? Like, what have Man United been doing in these transfer windows over the last 10 years? Like, only 13. Sir Alex Ferguson always bought Premier League proven players. Yeah, brought plenty of players from overseas, but there was always a sprinkling and just enough experience to bring in. Are United realising now that these are the mistakes that have been made? You have to bring in players that are Prem proven. Obviously, Cunha and Delap fit the bill of that straight away, and it's something that I think Ruben and this new structure at United have cottoned onto instantly as soon as they've walked through the door. Antony going away and smashing it in Spain is another point that's been proven there, with some players just don't come in from overseas and hit the ground running at Manchester United. I mean, how many have we had over the years? And it's the gamble. Like I said before, just as an example with Victor Gyökeres, I feel like that championship experience is probably giving him a tiny little bit of an edge over other foreign strikers that would come in. Like, for instance, Ekitike, brilliant, having a great season. But is he going to do it in the Premier League? Massive unknown. You just don't know. You don't know. Manchester United have been culpable of this over the years as well. Don't get me wrong, like, some Premier League players that have come in have also failed Manchester United. It's not always a guarantee, but we have predominantly over the last 11 years gone out and bought the majority of our players from overseas. And yes, you could say that's because of English tax, Man United tax on top of that, and strengthening an opponent, and that's why clubs always rip Manchester United off. But without a structure in place, United have been playing this transfer window blind for years. And when you look at what we've got now, there's like jumping onto the fact that Bryan Mbeumo, for instance, has got 1 more year left on his contract. He has got an output of 18 goals and 8 assists in the Premier League alone this season. So that's 26 goal involvements this season. That's more than Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee put together. And you can get him for less than what we paid for Rasmus Højlund. That's absolutely preposterous when you look at it. But should United be going for these? Now, there is more talk about Bryan Mbeumo and the Premier League proven factor creeping in that United are going in for him. The problem we've got with Mbeumo is, and a lot of United fans will say the same thing, but I do believe that United are looking at number 9s. Yes, we need number 9s. But I do think it's the goal factor at United that's the big difference. And goals don't always come from your number 9. It's like Mo Salah doesn't play as a number 9, but he's still the leading goal scorer at Liverpool. There are plenty of players that play out wide and get you the goals. If Matheus Cunha came in with his 16 and Bryan Mbeumo came in with his 18, I know you've got to say, look, they might not score that many goals at Manchester United as they did at Wolves. The pressure might be too much. They might not be able to handle it. But if you've got them two in at 10 and Delap can chip in as well, if you can get 30 to 40 goals between them 3 alone, already you're looking at a massive improvement on what Manchester United have got. And that might be enough to keep us in Europe. And then, you know what? After that, the next summer, another top striker comes along and we can buy him then. It's all about playing it out and making sure that you make the right moves in the transfer window, I feel. And I think Prem-proven players is definitely something that is pushing Manchester United's transfer window along. I think we are definitely going down that road this summer, and we can't ignore it. We can't ignore that that has been a big, big part of Manchester United's transfer window. One way or the other, like without Premier League players, we've had plenty of overseas players come in and completely fail. And we have really avoided the Premier League when you look at it. Only 13 Premier League players since Sir Alex Ferguson retired from Manchester United. That's an interesting stat, that one. Let's get into the comment section on this. In terms of the forwards, do you think we definitely need the 9? Like, I'm not saying we're not going to buy a 9 and it's just going to be 10s, but the goal output and contribution factor, can we get just as much from the 10s as we can as a 9? Because I think that could play a big part in United's season next season. Sharing the goals around rather than someone coming in and blasting 30 or 40 goals. You look how many goals Arsenal have scored this season. They still haven't got an out-and-out striker. I know they're going to buy one now, but that's the point I'm getting to. If the 10s and the rest of the team can get you to a certain point, challenging in amongst the top 6, and then the season after that better striker becomes available to you at the right price, then maybe that's how you do it. Like many people in the chat have said before, it isn't a one window trick, this. We're not going to get it all done this window under Ruben Amorim. It is at least a couple of them, I feel, for us to at least start to get the squad balanced a little bit more. And in that time, you would have got rid of a lot of Manchester United's current squad by then as well. A couple of super chats in. First of all, though, 13 is 13. It shows how poor our transfer windows were. With the signings of Cunha, are we changing our transfer strategy? Hopefully, yes. Definitely feel like it is. James with a super chat. Thank you, James. Good morning, bud. Hope you and Kaz had a peaceful break. Hopefully, United's outcome for Wednesday's match will be for the best. Cheers for that, James. Love that, mate. That was you on the call the other day on our watch along. I'm pretty sure. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Manny, as always, in with his super chat this morning. Thank you, Manny. While we're glued to the Gyökeres rumours, don't be surprised if Amorim scouts 5 no-name players over the summer for 85 million instead of 2 strikers that are barely Premier League proven. No one can predict what is going to happen. I do believe there is something in that Premier League proven strategy, though. I think United, quite clearly, you've got, I think, the words that have come out from Ruben Amorim, well, he's been at Manchester United in press conferences of, he's describing what's going on at Manchester United. The characteristics has come out massively out of Ruben Amorim. That is something that he is big on. Now, I think someone messaged me yesterday saying that, you know, somebody who works at Wolves who's not keen on the attitude of Matheus Cunha and what he is, but what he is a winner. Like, his passion for the game is undoubted. Like, I don't care if this player gets on with every member of staff or not. All I care about is he's going to do a job on the pitch and he's going to give everything in that shirt. That's all United need to be looking at. What is his temperament? Yes. Has he got that red mist? I think Cunha has got that red mist. I'll be honest, I've said this many times before. I don't mind getting in a bit of a nut. I call him a nutter. It seems a bit harsh, doesn't it? But I don't mind getting in someone who has got that red mist, who has got that snap moment in him. I want that passion. I want that player to be absolutely devastated. Not walking off the end of the pitch after your 18th defeat of the season and going finding a player that has caused this club loads of problems to have a bit of a conflab in front of all of the British media and the press, like Lindelof did with Jadon Sancho. Get that element out of this club, for God's sake. Get that gone and give me some nasty mofos that that sounded really bad, sorry. That are going to go on that pitch and kick ass and going to do everything they possibly can to win a game. That's what Man United are missing. They're missing that core, like, mentality monster factor. That we are too soft. We are too soft. That's what Manchester United are. Give me the Cunhas of the world all day, every day. Like, if he's going to kick off when we lose, I'm all for that. No player should be happy. No player should be happy. And if he's going to ruffle feathers in that changing room, I'm sorry, that's the one changing room that needs ruffling. And they need to go kick up the arse, honestly, some of them players. So, yeah, I haven't got a problem with that. I haven't got a problem with what he's like off the pitch, as long as he does it on the pitch. Like, obviously, we're not hearing stupid stories about Cunha. Like, his fallouts have been pretty much after games and in changing rooms. It's all football-related fallout. And that I haven't got a problem with at all. Bring that on. That's what Manchester United are missing. Leaders, winners, actual mentality monsters, and then characteristics that Ruben is looking for. They never say diers. United just lie down and have their bellies tickled, don't they, when we start conceding goals. The players that come in have to have that winning mentality, that I am going to prove that I belong here type of mentality. I think Cunha's got that. Look, I could be completely wrong, and he could be another flop. Everybody could be. But what you've got to do is you've got to look at everything from this point and why you would bring him in and hope that them characteristics are the ones that are going to take you forward. So, yeah, Brian Mbeumo. And if we lined up with Brian Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha and Liam Delap next season, I'm not going to be sat here saying that that's a bad transfer window. I'm going to say that that there has just added another 30 to 40 goals to Manchester United's season off the back of what you would get from Garnacho, Xerxes and Rasmus Højlund. 100% it would. Obviously, then you've got cover, you've got depth, you've got Bruno, you've got Ahmad to come into that, you've got Mason Mount to come into that. And you can see where the options start to build up for United. If they make the right choices and bring the right players in, then Manchester United can challenge for top 6 next season. Without question. Without question. Let's get a few more comments in on this one. Premier League proven is important, but it can be fought with danger. Aaron Wan-Bissaka for 50 million springs to mind. Look, I don't think Aaron Wan-Bissaka was a bad player. Look what he's doing at West Ham right now. Again, Aaron Wan-Bissaka was a product of stupid Manchester United recruitment. Not that the player was bad. The fact that we paid 50 million for him in the first place. Good player. Look, Harry Maguire, some people would say, was a Prem-proven player that Manchester United got wrong. We probably paid too much, but Harry Maguire is about to see out 6 years straight at Manchester United. So he has played a part at United. We just paid too much for him. See, Premier League proven players with a structure behind you, when you're not overpaying for them players, is different to going out and spending, what do you want for a Mason Mount, Chelsea? Oh, 55 million. Right, our first bid for Mason Mount will be 55 million. That's what we were dealing with before. United should have got Mount for 35, 40 million. They could have got him for that price. They could have got Maguire for 20 million less. But this is what we had before. We haven't got that now. So the overspending stupid money and looking at players who have failed at United because of the price tag is something that we're not going to have to do, I don't think, going forward. Adam Wharton is the next rise. Pay up for a long-term class gem that will improve and is versatile. I just don't think Man United have got 70 million to spend on him right now. I get it that he is a quality player, he is. And it's going to be interesting to see if United do even try and pursue any deal for Adam Wharton, how far they would take it. But again, I just don't think Manchester United have got that money for him. Silverbacks in says, morning FUTV army, late today, was stuck in the morning meeting. Andrew Short, great, everybody, welcome. Hello, good morning to you as well, mates. If we win the Europa League title, we secure Champions League ticket next season. I'll get us a lot more to attract players like Osimhen. Kavicha is not going to come to us, mate. He's already signed for PSG. Nico Williams, don't want him. Kolo Muane, don't want him either. Conceição, no, I mean, I think you're looking at players that United won't even go for, pal. You're right in what you say about Champions League actually giving us them options, but I wouldn't waste it on them players. I think actually getting our nines service will make a huge difference. This is why I am excited about Cunha, says Roz. Yeah, Roz, bang on the money, mate, there, because we haven't got that service. Like, Rasmus has had service, but he's fluffed his lines. Garnacho has had chances, he's fluffed his lines. Decision-making, characteristics, mentality, everything we've been talking about is what Manchester United are looking for in this window. And I think that's the important thing to remember. It's not the numbers necessarily that they've got at their club. It's the other little minor details that Ruben's looking at that we actually need in our team. And it's that culture side of things that continues. It's like, if we go behind, so what? We're still going to come back and play the same way and fight and get the win in the end. If we go behind now, we're dead. We're done. We know we are. Manchester United cannot compete, it would seem, in the Premier League when we go behind. It's scary. Like the stats that I brought up after the Chelsea game alone, like 8 games without a win, without even scoring in 5 of them games. That there tells me weak mentality for Manchester United. Really weak. In terms of what Manchester United are going to do in... we talked yesterday, sorry, I got my words mixed up then. Alvaro Fernandez obviously is top of that list, but Alvaro Fernandez is part of something that I've dug out this morning. Manchester United last summer, in terms of the players that we sold on, all have got the clauses in their contracts and sell-ons like we've discussed. Alvaro Fernandez is going to go to Real Madrid this summer and fetch Manchester United a hefty fee, which is going to go a long way also. So all of that, along with the players we're selling, and if we win on Wednesday, this could be a big summer for United. But Alvaro Fernandez, I'm just going to go through this list right now. Manchester United's academy players. So Manchester United sold Alvaro Fernandez, Willy Cambuala, Scott McTominay and Mason Greenwood, all United Academy graduates, last summer for a combined fee of approximately 60 million quid. 60 million, 100% profit for Manchester United. Each of them players has contributed to their teams this season qualifying for the Champions League. United selling off quality players that have done better elsewhere. That, again, I think is because of an environment of poor recruitment that has come into Manchester United and has ruined our academy players' chances of making it at this football club. That alone there, 60 million for 4 academy players Manchester United sold last summer. Now, yeah, you could say that helped us fund purchases in the summer, and that was clever business because nobody was really kicking up a stink about any of them players leaving Manchester United. Obviously, Mason Greenwood's factor was kicking in, and we all knew that he had to be sold. Willie Campbell, we got a decent fee for, I thought. That was very good. 8 million for him. He's definitely up there with one of United's better sales for a player that really didn't feature and only had 1 year left on his contract. And the others, Alvaro Fernandez, I think was a poor one. And obviously, I think we are going to recoup that money now for Alvaro with him going to Real Madrid. But that there shows me, look, you've got 4 players there that have gone elsewhere and are doing well. Why are they not doing well at Manchester United? Well, you could say that they didn't have it and they didn't have them characteristics that I've just spoken about and the mentality to handle what Manchester United is. But really, when you look at it as well, them 10 years that I've just mentioned of Manchester United, 11 years of buying 13 Premier League proven players, how are Manchester United's academy players supposed to thrive at this football club when you're bringing in players that haven't been recruited properly by an inept recruitment and management team that has been running this club the last decade? I think proof is there in how United have failed. We've failed the fans, they've failed the club itself, they've failed their own academy, which has been the one leading light and one positive over the last few years for this football club, with that shocking recruitment policy and the structure at this football club. It is absolutely diabolical. But 60 million for them. Let's just see what we're looking at now in terms of value. What's Scott McTominay worth right now? I think Manchester United get an add-on for Scott McTominay if they do qualify for the Champions League or win the league. There is an add-on for Scott McTominay as well, so we could get more money for him as a bonus, actually. Scott McTominay right now. So if you sold, let's just say, United sold all of them for 60 million. We're about to bring back... No, here's the one, actually. I'm figuring it out. We sold them all for 60 million, and Alvaro Fernandez is about to be sold for approximately 40 million. 1 year on. That again alone, does that not just say exactly where Manchester United have been for the last God knows how many years? It is so disappointing. Right, just to quickly run back over all of the stories that we've talked about so far, if you are just joining us on the show right now, we talked about Antony's move away from Manchester United, taking a turn for the positive. Betis last night, smashed by Atletico Madrid. They can now not qualify for the Champions League, which I think takes Real Betis out of the reckoning for Antony, and he's definitely not going to be ending up at them. But Villarreal have come forward now as one of the main options for Antony. They are in the Champions League next season. They have qualified through La Liga in 5th place, guaranteed now. I've got money to spend on Antony and can pay for him outright and not alone. Atletico Madrid, Juventus, the other 2, Barcelona, way down the line. But the others are looking and are circling around Antony. So that is a big positive because United now have other options apart from Betis, is what we said earlier on. Victor Gyökeres and his situation that we talked about yesterday and a little bit this morning. 55 million is what gets him through the door, yes. Arsenal, according to Ben Jacobs, are not 100% all eggs in Gyökeres' basket. They are waiting to see out the Premier League season to see what happens with Isaac at Newcastle. He is still their top target, which gives United the time to obviously get through this week and know if we are in the Champions League next season. If we are in the Champions League next season, that pretty much then gives us the option to go in for Victor Gyökeres, who wants to go to a club that's in the Champions League. So the fact that Arsenal are waiting out on Isaac, the Portugal Cup is being played between Sporting and Benfica, which Gyökeres is concentrating on before he decides on any of his future. We've got time. So by Wednesday, we will know if we're in or if we're not. It's in our hands, basically. Because I think if United go in for Gyökeres, United get him. I really do feel like that is how big Wednesday is for Manchester United. It is. And on Wednesday night, I've seen a great piece how Manchester United cannot be playing the players like Rasmus Højlund and Victor Lindelof, like two players that have probably only featured well and done well in the Europa League this season, but we're playing a Premier League side. Both Rasmus Højlund and Victor Lindelof's record in the Premier League is absolutely shocking this season. And again, I feel it's more cries to play Bruno as a false nine. I really do. I think it makes so much more sense. Bruno will be a pest and a nuisance for that back line for Tottenham. They won't know if they're coming or going, and you'll have Mount running over the back, and you'll have Ahmad running over the back as well. I can feel myself going in on this more and more and more as the week goes on, as we get closer to this game, but it's starting to make more and more sense. We got the great news yesterday that Lenny Yoro is back on grass and training with the first team now, so he is going to be available. Aidan Heaven is available, and Lenny Yoro, obviously, and Diogo Dalot is also fit and available for the final. Victor Lindelof gets nowhere near that starting lineup. I'm sorry. He doesn't deserve it. And I think if Ruben has got anything about him or wants to win this game, you keep Victor Lindelof as far away from that Man United starting lineup as you possibly can. It's as simple as that, isn't it? It really is. Let's get a few more comments quickly in. By the way, everybody, thank you so much for everyone who has liked the video. If you are loving the content, please do give it a thumbs up and obviously get your comments in as well. Really appreciate that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, everybody, to keep up to date with all of the Manchester United news on and off the pitch. Transfer season is coming up, and you are going to want to be up to date with everything that's going on. It is going to be mental, and I'm ready for it. I am. I'm so ready for this season to be over and try and look forward now to what let's hope is going to be a better one next year with a different team. How many goals does Gyökeres create for himself, though? We've already said service is an issue. He does create goals for himself. Like Roy Keane was saying about Højlund the other day. Like, you've got to do something for yourself. But creation with the likes of Cunha, Bruno, Ahmad, all in your team, maybe one more 10 as well, and another midfielder, if we qualify for the Champions League, you're going to be looking at a different Man United altogether next season. 100%. See what we've got. I thought Lindelof played well against Chelsea. I didn't. I thought it was crap. But he shouldn't be at the club. Rasmus shouldn't start in the final. If he does, I have a feeling we lose. I mean, Kaz said to me the other day, he's going to play Rasmus Højlund in the final, and that already puts me down. It already worries me. We shouldn't be worried before we're going into a game off the back of players that are going to be starting. Honestly, you do fear, don't you, what's coming for Manchester United in this final? If we've got the likes of, I think Romero and Van der Ven will eat Rasmus Højlund alive. Give them something else to think about. Play Bruno Fernandes in there. That's what I say. Get Bruno in there as a false nine, and they won't know what they're up against. They won't be expecting it, and I think it's the smart move for Man United. It is. On a positive side, though, we've gone to Bilbao and played one of the best games of our season. We'll feel a bit familiar, and we seem to up our performance when something is riding on it. Yeah, Gary, you could definitely say that. We've done it all season. Dalot, if fit, Amorim 100% is starting him. Bruno false 9, I want to see it, says Carl. We need goals, full stop, says Babs. Get him in, Babs. Bruno's got to be at 8, not 10, but we have nobody else at 10. We've got Ahmad, we've got Mount. I think we have got options at 10, to be honest. I would still play Bruno at 9, and then I would put Casemiro and Ugarte in midfield, holding midfield. I think that's the way it's got to be. I look at Bruno and what Bruno can bring, and just a free roll from 9, and him still doing his 10 duties as well and running around everywhere. You know that Bruno is going to at least have a shot on goal, which Rasmus doesn't, and you know that he's going to occupy 2 or 3 players in that back line, therefore giving a bit more space for our other forwards to operate, because Spurs are not going to sit deep, I don't think. Ange, I mean, he has played a bit more pragmatic in some games in the Europa League. I don't think he's going to play pragmatic football in a final, though. I don't see it, unless he's learned a lot from watching United. Like, the way you beat United is by giving them the ball, and you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to win. Look, That is it for the show this morning, everybody. We're going to talk more about the final as the days go forward. I'll keep you fully up to date today. This is our last live show on location, heading back home this morning, so we'll be back in the studio later on today as well. If anything does break throughout the day, I'm all over it. I will have you fully updated, everybody, so make sure that you stay tuned, get subscribed if you're not, hit that bell notification, and again, give the video a like if you love the content as well. Get your comments in below, everybody. Mods in the chat and everyone who contributed this morning, absolutely amazing job. Cheers, everybody. I'll see you all later on. Have a fantastic Monday.